Welcome to Investors Insights, episode number 159. We want to thank you for all the comments and questions we've received. They help us bring you the information you want. And with that said, let's get right to that information.
You're listening to Investors Insights with Greg Powell and the Portfolio Strategy team from Five Plan Partners.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
I think it's National Yellow Tie Day at Five Plan Partners.
It is.
We did not coordinate our ties this morning, so we have a lot of information, though, for you. I think we can start off by saying we're still of the opinion we're in a bear market.
Yes.
For those of you listening, our technical indicators as well as fundamentals, we're still seeing a lot there. Now, we've got an interesting week here, and we want you to listen closely here because we got some big things going on, and then we also have some things, what we call a lot of little things that could amount to a lot, correct?
Yes.
That could impact the market. So that's very important as we go through this. Bobby, we need to talk about the week. You made some great points this morning. Your Fed chairman is going to be speaking this week, I think. Is that correct?
She sure is. So a lot of information coming out this week. Could be a volatile, big week. First thing is earnings. Like last week, we got some big tech companies reporting earnings. Last week, we had some tech companies disappoint with their earnings.
Did, yeah.
And then on Friday, we've got some oil companies reporting earnings. So we'll see what the lower price of oil is doing. Then on Thursday, we've got GDP. GDP is expected to come in less than 1%. And so really a healthy growing economy is at 3%.
Yes.
So you've got to think the Fed, who's meeting on Tuesday and Wednesday, they're looking at that very closely. So we don't expect them to do anything in terms of rates, but we are looking at what they say. It's all about the verbiage with the Fed. And then also on Friday, we've got...
Well, on that verbiage, it's the verbiage and how the news media picks up on that and the translation that they give it. But that can impact our clients' portfolios.
No specific channel to be named. Let's just say a news-focused channel will probably juice up the news before this Fed meeting, even though no one really expects anything to happen.
Right.
But, you got to get someone to watch.
The rhetoric. Sorry to interrupt. I think it's a good point.
Absolutely. And then on Friday, we've got personal income coming out. Personal income actually starting to show up very positively. And so one thing we've seen, the great jobs reports come out, but the income has stayed flat the past few years. And so we're just now starting to see personal income pick up. And so that's good. We need that to continue.
Right. But this has been, over these past few months, it's been months of contradictions.
Yes.
And you brought up a real good point about earnings. Talk about that just a little bit here.
So we came.
This is a great contradiction.
Yeah. So we came into earnings season with low expectations, and that's I think we've talked about. It was going to be a low bar to jump over. And we saw early on a lot of companies really jumping over that low bar, especially financials. So the low expectation companies are beating expectations. But then the high companies, the ones that have been holding up the economy, the technologically driven companies, they're underperforming their expectations. So if you had any expectations coming into this, you're below it. If you didn't have any, you're kind of getting above it. So we're getting kind of a mixed picture. What we were hoping for is that earnings, with the Fed being quiet, hopefully that not making news.
And we like that.
Right. that earnings, the mother's milk of the economy and of stocks, earnings drive the market. And so, you get good earnings, you get good, positive outlook. That typically drives
portfolios go up.
Portfolios go up.
Sure.
And so we, with expectations being so low, we were hoping that there'd be more beats. It's really early. But we're seeing some beats for the low expectations, like the financials. Everyone really was weighed down on financials. But then the companies that have been doing well,
going back to the technology
aspect, are coming in below. So it's kind of it's a mixed bag.
Right, and we've still stayed conservative in our portfolios. I mean, we're still. I mean, the technical indicators are still saying, be cautious here.
Right.
We've still got plenty of things out there that could cause a big fire pretty quick.
Yeah, a good way to see it, the market, your investments or the stock market is expensive, isn't to look at the price, but look at the price over to earnings,
right?
The PE ratio. And if P stays flat, and it really rarely stays flat, but if E falls, then the P, even if it's flat, starts to go up and the market gets more and more expensive. We've seen that E continually fall.
Right.
And that's where
that's concerning. That is very concerning to us. Now, on top of that, so Ashley, we were talking about the confusion in terms of everybody listening what the Fed's doing, and here comes the media, and then Trey was talking about earnings contradictions and everything. You brought up a great point this morning about political contradictions in terms of just adding more noise and confusion. Talk just a little bit about that.
Greg's exactly right. It's more noise in the machine when you get right down to it, and what it's been over the last 8 years. I think whether you're on Republican or Democratic side, you agree that this last administration has had a little bit more difficult time communicating about and to
Well, there's
business.
been a lot of new regulations
There
and other
has.
rules.
Moving the goalpost,
Post,
as Greg
yeah.
says, that's a great analogy of it. That's what they've done. They've
Right.
moved the goalpost. People don't like uncertainty, and what we're seeing is transitioning to this campaign. We were talking about this morning. It's more when you get a populist campaign that's sort of an outsider-in type
Right,
campaign.
right.
It doesn't help that.
Right.
It just kind of adds to the confusion of that. And we were saying this morning, there are 4 quick things that it gets: taxes, trade, consumer confidence, and immigration. And you've really heard all of those discussions, but the point we want you to know about markets is when people are uncertain politically too, they lock up.
Yeah.
Companies don't invest.
Right.
That's the taxes part. And people don't spend. That's the consumer confidence point. So it's still a lot of confusion with that.
So
It's
going back
causing
to all the contradictions, people are just trying
Yes.
to figure out what are the rules.
Absolutely.
You know, what are the rules that we've got to play by, not only to finish out this administration, but whoever the new administration is.
It's coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that just adds to that. So these are things that we're watching very closely, as we go through and navigate through these markets. As we always say, there's no guarantees, but we're staying on top of it in terms of what's going on out there. We, again, greatly appreciate all the feedback that we get. Keep that coming to us. We're going to continue to provide these vlogs. We don't do this for our health. We do this for you and to make sure that you're informed and that in all the noise that's going on out there, that you're able to get a message and data and information that you can apply realistically to your portfolio and not emotionally. We appreciate you joining us. Have a great week.